You shifted your focus from outcome to now progress, taking action, and you're 8 kilos down and you just climbed a mountain
I did.
in 3 weeks.
Yes.
Imagine where you're going to be in 6 months. Alrighty, well, it's my absolute pleasure to introduce you all to Cass. 29 years young, beaming with excitement, in part because she's had a great start to her program. She's 8.1 kilos down in 3 weeks. Woohoo! How do you
Yay.
feel?
I feel renewed.
Renewed? That's very subdued.
Yeah, I do.
Renewed.
I do. I definitely feel just bettering myself. I'm healthier. I'm happier. And I feel like I'm kicking more goals, not only physically, but also in my personal life as well. So just a little bit more motivation to get stuff done, which is really good.
Let's bring you back a little bit, because when you and I first met 3-4 weeks ago on the phone, you were in a completely different headspace. I'm just going to paint a quick picture for people. You come through a couple of hurdles and obstacles with your health, a failed IVF round, etc. You were quite sick. You were uninspired. You were up against a hard wall in terms of your thought process about what you thought you could do. Your fear of failing was holding you back. You were desperate to change where you are, except you were really being held back by this massive fear of, what if I can't? What if I fail long term? Based on outcomes, because let's face it, we're not always measuring outcome, we're measuring action in terms of what you're doing. You've just climbed Mount Kosciuszko on the weekend, which is 2,228 meters high. You did that in 2 hours roughly going up, an hour 15 coming down. You had a temper tantrum on the mountain with your hubby, and he reconnected you back into your why, which got you to the top. That's a big summary. It's a big start. 8.1 kilos in just over or just under around 3 weeks so far.
Yeah.
What's been the biggest change to you with where you're at, particularly relating to your willpower?
Okay, so biggest change for me is realising that it's not the outcome, and that's something that you drilled into me from our very first conversation. So it doesn't have to be a physical outcome, and it's not numbers. This is a journey, so it's not always about getting there the fastest, and it's something that's a lifestyle change for me, and that's something that's really hit home in the last couple of weeks. So it's not about what I achieve in a week, it's going to be what I achieve in 12 months time. So
totally.
That for me has probably been
it's shifting that perspective awareness, like really connecting you in with your truest why, which is not always the surface level why that we think it is. But more important, like you're touching on here, is that before starting this program, this journey, you were very much stuck in your head because of the fear of, what if I can't? And if I do get to my goal, what if I sabotage myself, put all the weight back on, and end up where I am now? What's the point type thing? We shifted the focus. We laid out your personalized program in terms of time frame, approach, strategy, the coaching elements, etc. You shifted your focus from outcome to now progress, taking action, and you're 8 kilos down and you just climbed a mountain.
I did.
In 3 weeks.
Yes.
Imagine where you're going to be in 6 months.
That's super exciting, because I even feel fitter and healthier now. So a big thing for me was the fact that I was struggling with my health as an overall aspect. And as you said, I was scared of failure, but I realise now that even if I do fall off the bandwagon a little bit, I'm not actually failing, because I'm in a headspace now where I know I can bring myself back.
What's the difference though? Because really cool. A lot of people experience this same fear, and whereas normally your quote unquote failings or perceived failings, I didn't eat well, or I stuffed up here, that would cause a consequential flow-on effect with sabotaging activities. Why have you changed? Why are you not fearing that, but now leaning into it with so much more peaceful confidence?
Overall, so the group itself, so we've got our online Facebook group, and seeing everybody else's achievements is definitely inspiring and encourages you to continue to go on. Also, the fact that I have an obligation to myself to put on paper how much I've lost what I've achieved over the week, and what I've done to improve myself. It gives me that inspiration and also pushes me to not want to disappoint myself as well.
I love that.
It's a big thing around me not wanting to disappoint myself when I physically see it on paper.
So in other words, holding yourself accountable, becoming mindfully aware of what's working well with your actions, what's not working well, moderating, adjusting as needs, and the results are coming. You're not focusing on the results. Your focus is on action. What can I do? Not what can't I do, but what can I do? Again, you just climbed a mountain. There was a moment where you almost said, I can't do this. And your husband said, do you want to turn around? And in that moment, he kind of jumped the gun and said, but remember, Cass, why you're doing this? And he got you to the top because you focused on what you can do. I mean, it's a simple distinction, but I'll be honest with you, Cass, it takes guts, because a lot of people, you know, to be aware of a fear is one thing. To hit it head on with action and a changed perspective with patience and a big timeline, you know, shift of actually seeing this as a lifelong change, it's not easy, right?
No, not at all. It has been hard. And there's times where I think, it'd be easier just to go back to how it was. But then I remind myself how I feel now, and it definitely outweighs that.
I want you to do a quick paint of a picture compared to where you were, and be as honest and raw as you want. The headspace you were in, how you felt emotionally, physically, etc., with how you feel now. What's the main key differences?
First of all, the main difference is in my household, everything's happier. So because I'm positive and my headspace has changed, it creates a different atmosphere at home. So with myself and my partner, which for starters, that's awesome.
Is he noticing that change as well?
Yeah, and he's definitely noticed that I'm more willing and I want to do things. So he's quite sporty himself, and he does a lot of that stuff. So that was a part of our relationship where we probably necessarily didn't gel 100%. So I was a little bit reluctant to go and do different activities and do stuff with him. Whereas now I find we're spending a lot more time together.
That's awesome.
And we're doing a lot more stuff together. So that's really cool.
Tell me about your energy. How's your energy improved?
My energy's improved so much more. So before this, I was going through IVF, and I also had a lot of health problems. So I've got polycystic ovarian syndrome, and I'm also I was verging on being a diabetic. So a few health problems that were contributing to the way I felt. But I've noticed now, even in the last 2.5 weeks, that physically it's completely changed. So I'm sleeping better. I've been basically awake when I wake up now. So that was a really big thing for me in the mornings and stuff like that. It was really hard. I'm not going to say that it's 100% because, of course, it's only been 2.5 weeks and it's not, but it's definitely better than it was. My pain and stuff like that I was experiencing, so just overall within myself, in my body, has definitely gone away. So little things like that.
I love that.
I mean, that's enough to change anyone's perspective on anything. Because,
like I said at the start, is that we are just at the beginning. And small hinges swing big doors, and it's something you hear me say often. But in reality, you know, we've put together a strategy that you feel empowered within to take action on. Your hope has increased. Your faith in your ability to take action is increasing. And I love the pathway that we are on, because I know that it's going to, number one, get you to your goal, but more importantly, it's teaching you how to do this in a way that is realistic, and most importantly, helping you to change in the process.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, a big thing that keeps coming back into my mind from when we first talked was how I would say to you, I can't do it because my partner's sitting on the lounge eating chocolate, or he's doing all those things, so that's why I can't do it. And I realise now that he can still do those things. So
it doesn't have to necessarily. You're responsible for you. He's there. We can't use that as an excuse.
That's right, and he is still doing those things. So I think a big thing for me is I haven't removed those things out of my life. So he's still doing the exact same things that he's doing. I've just changed my mind space to not be encouraged to do those things with him just because he's doing it, because I can see results. So for me, that's enough to stop me.
Totally. And I love the fact that we've been able to weave that in so that it doesn't disrupt your home life, that you can really integrate it well. Hey, I'm really keen to know, you know, people watching this, whether they're working with me now or perhaps they've not worked with me yet, you know, what's it been like? You and I haven't met face to face, and yet I'm obviously working very closely with you. What's your experience been like from day dot when we first spoke on the phone? I know I kind of not took you by storm, but I know you were like, holy hell, like, who is this guy that he's kind of got me pinpointed with what we need to do? But what's it been like working together remotely, obviously not face to face?
I personally like it. I don't think it's any different from me going to the gym. So I still have the same encouragement, if not more. So there's a lot more avenues with this experience than me just going to the gym and seeing somebody for an hour. I'm able to talk to you not 24/7, but when I need to and if I need to, which
24/7,
really
just not at 3 a.m. in the morning, right?
just not at 3 a.m. in the morning. And also with the girls, so that's something that you wouldn't necessarily get just being a member of a gym or going to a boot camp or something like that. These people that have joined the group have obviously got the same sort of fears and aspirations as I have, and it's just nice to see when they're experiencing wins. People are really encouraging with meals, so it's a more holistic sort of exercise
approach
than what it would be just to go to a gym or something like that, which is really cool. So,
and just to clarify what you're talking about with the other girls is obviously the people who are on this program. We have a private platform set up only for those of you who are there for support, for coaching, for guidance, for sharing wins, sharing challenges. And that's a huge part of this process. I know that it's not the main part, but it's a huge part. Why? Because when you're doing this, when we're making changes in our lives, it feels like we're doing it alone. And to see that, in fact, the same things you're encountering, the fears, the challenges, the obstacles, by and large, although we have very different lives, are very similar in nature. And I think it's really encouraging and it helps spur you on. And I think the online component as well makes it, I don't know about you, but the feedback I get often is that, Jay, I feel so much more freer to share and be vulnerable in this group and share wins and share challenges because I'm not meeting these people face to face. I can be me without judgment.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, there is a few different aspects of my life that I wouldn't necessarily speak about with people that I have met face to face or people in my world. I find uncomfortable, but in a phone call or online or something like that, I feel like I can be more open.
Yeah.
As you said, because these people don't physically know me, they're not in my life all the time.
Yep.
They're just a support network for me when I need it. It's also not one of those things where I have to engage.
Cass, we just lost you for 2 seconds. You were just saying there that it's not something you have to engage with. Obviously, it's there as a support network when you need it.
There is. So just with the girls itself, it's not one of those things where I have to engage with them, but I can engage with them if I want to.
Totally. There is an added benefit there, for sure.
Yeah, and it's not that pressure. So if I'm in that situation where I was at a gym or I was in a group or something like that where I was face to face, I guess I'd kind of feel more pressure that I have to jump online and or get involved in the conversation. Whereas we don't actually have that pressure, and it's nice to be able to open up when we feel ready.
Yeah, that's good.
That's been really nice.
Hey, tell me, we are 3 weeks into your program. You're 8 kilos down, which again is not the norm. You know, some people lose less, some people lose more. But in terms of your body responding, it's responding well, and that's because you are doing this in a really realistic way. I want to know from you, what's your ultimate end goal, number one? Where do you want to be, first of all, in, say, another 5-6 months' time?
5-6 months' time, I would really love to be around about sort of the 70-75 kilo mark.
Yep.
That for me would be amazing. So that would be sort of where I would feel comfortable at my goal weight. But on a deeper level than that, my partner and myself are going to do another couple of rounds of IBS. So for me, this process is a lot more than weight loss. It's also to improve my health as an overall aspect, and that's something that my doctor's asked of me for quite some time now.
That's awesome.
So, yeah, that'll be really cool.
And part of that's the mental resilience with how we view ourselves, how we take action, the way we approach our life in general, as well as goals that we're working towards.
Yeah, and also as well, we spoke about the fact that I guess if things don't work out, that I won't have an excuse there as well. So,
in other words, you're putting yourself in the best possible place to fall pregnant, and beyond that, it's outside of your control, but you're doing what you can do to set yourself up to hopefully one day soon start your own family.
Yeah, that's right.
I love that. Well, I'm really excited to see where we go with this. I think what we should do is do an update case study with you in another 5 or 6 months' time. Super stoked with your start. Well done again. Any passing last words that you would like to say to anyone? Imagine that you are watching this right now 4 weeks ago. You're sitting on the fence. You're sitting on your bum on the couch next to your hubby who's eating the ice cream and eating the chocolate, and you're blaming him for that. You're there and you're watching this right now. What would you say to you in this moment?
Probably create the opportunity for yourself, because if you don't, you'll never know.
I love that. In other words, get off your bum, take some action, create that moment of change and step into it.
Yeah, definitely.
I love it. Well, listen, thank you so much for your time, Cass. Really appreciate it, and well done.
No worries. Thanks, Jay.
Thanks, Cass.